I'm Penny Goetjen, and I write mysteries and suspense. I tend to write at odd times of the day. Could be late in the evening, could be 4 in the morning, middle of the afternoon. But I've also been known to write with some flickering candles nearby. It tends to set the mood for my writing. I'm also fascinated with the paranormal. Have been for many years, ever since I was quite young. So I often will weave a spine-tingling yet subtle thread, paranormal thread through my stories, and I have a lot of fun doing that. My latest book is called The Woman Underwater. In fact, here's a copy. And it was a fun one to write. It's a standalone, and it's the story of Victoria Sands. When the story opens, her husband has been missing for almost 7 years. And he was a teacher at a private all-boys boarding school in Connecticut. And he disappeared on a field trip with his students to New York City. So at this point, Victoria's friends are trying very hard to convince her to snap out of it and move on. It's been too long. They don't think he's coming back. But she thinks he will. Even though he disappeared without a trace, with no witnesses, they never even found his car. But she's convinced because she continues to receive the most beautiful coral-colored roses for her birthday, which is something her husband started doing when they were first married. So she believes he's out there, and that's his sign to her that he will return. The wrinkle in the story is that their younger son, Jameson, who is a student at the academy, he wants to go on the field trip that's coming up on the school calendar. That is the one his father disappeared on. The inspiration behind The Woman Underwater is actually my readers, my Connecticut readers. At that point, I had 3 mysteries set on the rocky coast of Maine in an old family-run inn high up on a precipice looking out over the ocean. That's my Elizabeth Pennington mystery series. And I also had 2 books set in the steamy, sultry Caribbean with warm turquoise water and beautiful white sandy beaches as a backdrop. And that's my Olivia Benning mystery series. So I had those 5 books, and I had Connecticut readers saying, well, when are you going to set a book in Connecticut? And I mean, after all, I was born in Connecticut, grew up there, we raised our kids there. I went to school there, and I love Connecticut. So it made sense. I probably would have gotten to it at some point, but it was great that my Connecticut readers kind of urged me to write one there. And it didn't take long before I came up with the threads of a storyline, because I do start with all my books. I start with the setting first, and I start with places that I've fallen in love with, and Connecticut is one of those places. So I started with the setting, and very quickly came up with the gist of the storyline, and got busy writing. My inspiration actually comes from life going on around me. My characters are modeled after people I know or have known, or people I've just crossed paths with, maybe even just for a few minutes, or I may never have spoken to them. But I tend to collect characters by observing people in everyday life. Airports are a great place to people watch, which is the first step for me for collecting characters. And I'm often killing time in an airport and people watching. People watching is so entertaining, and I usually jot down some notes on my phone, hopefully discreetly. In the process, I tend to come up with a backstory for some of the more interesting people that I've observed, and then from there I embellish and insert them in my stories and take it from there. One character from The Woman Underwater, Millie, who is Victoria's mother, turned out to be quite a colorful character, and she was based on someone I just observed for a few seconds at one of my signings. And there was something about her that was intriguing, and she seemed to have a great sense of humor. So after she left my field of vision, I jotted down a few things and decided I really needed to insert her in one of my stories. And I think she's probably my favorite character in The Woman Underwater. In fact, I had one advanced reviewer who thought Millie was so entertaining that she should have her own book. So who knows, maybe there'll be a spin-off from The Woman Underwater, and Millie will be the protagonist. Well, besides being able to create interesting stories that are taking place in settings that I've fallen in love with, and then through that, my readers fall in love. Besides that, I think a real highlight for me is having readers that keep coming back for my next book. They keep coming back looking for what I have written most recently. They've read, one or more of my back titles, and they're looking for more, and they give me such positive feedback. And it really is inspiring to me because, there are times where, you're trudging through, several pages of editing, or you're up, I'm up late at night trying to get to my word count. And all I have to do is think about the readers and how much they enjoy what I do and how many are looking for that next book. And there's just something very, very rewarding about knowing you're providing some entertainment for a lot of people. So I appreciate my readers very much. They're very engaged on social media, and I love staying connected with them, and they're very supportive. So it's a pleasure to write for them. I would say go for it, but be prepared to do the work that's necessary to get it to be the best quality book that it can possibly be. Whether you're going to go a self-publishing route or a traditionally published route, you want to make sure it's the best novel that it can be, the best manuscript that it can be. And that's going to mean investing in a professional editor to help you get your writing to the best that it can be. Because you only have one shot when you're submitting to a publisher or an agent, or if you're going on your own and self-publishing. You've got one shot to get it to the best it can be for the readers or for an agent or a publisher. So, and understand that takes a lot of time. It's a very tedious process, and there's a lot of work to it. But I encourage people who want to write a book to go for it, but put the work in that's necessary and get it to be the best it can be. But also recognize that the writing is the piece that you do best. And then step back and let the professionals take it from there. A professional editor, a professional layout designer for the interior of the book, have it professionally, the cover professionally designed. It's not something that we as writers should take on. There's an art and a psychology to book covers. There's an art to designing the interior of books. So stick to what you do best. Do the writing, make it the best story you can make, and let the experts take it from there. My books are available everywhere you already buy books. They're readily available online at all the usual major retailers like Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, but they're also available at independent bookstores, and if they don't already have them on the bookshelf, they can very easily order them. In fact, on my website, which is pennygoetjen.com, there is a link to help you find an independent bookstore near you, because I really want to support them. They are the local gems in our communities, and I really want to support them and help them stay in business. So please support them as well. But my books are available in print and on ebook, and they're readily available. And so I hope you will enjoy a copy of The Woman Underwater. Just remember to take a deep breath before you go under.